Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Precious Chukudi, and of course we'll run with you the front pages of this morning papers. We're starting off with Vanguard. On the front page of Vanguard, we have main headline, Attention, security show of force as EDO polls hold tomorrow. The rider says INEC distributes sensitive materials. Police other security agencies in show of force. IGP orders restriction of vehicular movement. PDP storms INEC headquarters, demands assurance of credible polls. With 31,000 security operatives, there must be no rigging, violence, ADP says. Obaseki hails Buhari's call for peaceful, transparent election. Boni tax stakeholders on peaceful exercise. Wike urges US, UK to name election riggers. APC campaign commends residents, expresses worry over security. Do or die mentality, threat to free and fair election, Buhari says. On COVID-19 updates, we have Lagos records 45 new infections as confirmed cases rise to 56,735. You can see that on page 35. And stories above, we have COVID-19. We are beginning to flatten the curve, but federal government says produce evidence. NMA says 15 states qualify for global funding for education. NEC. You can see that story on page 35. On page 8, National Water Resources Bill will come up with positions soon. Governors. On page 8, still recovered loot. EFCC ICPC agrees to transfer records as Malami launches new database. On page 19, CBN probes betting houses, request account statement of owners. And on page 11, Babalakin resigns as Unilag's council chair as visitation panel submits reports to federal government. Also, we have a photo story of sensitive materials for the Edo State gubernatorial election being distributed by INEC officials in Benin City yesterday. And on page 5, we have a fuel electricity tariff hike, federal government to meet over labor stress. CSO pledged to join forces with labor to battle government. Nurses, midwife begin mobilization for industrial action. Also on page 10, we have attack on convoy. Investigate, arrest, prosecute corporate, Akeredolu tells police. And away from Vanguard, move straight to the Punch newspaper. And on the Punch newspaper, we have federal government orders schools to conduct weekly COVID-19 assessments. Government to suspend passport of errand travelers for 6 months. Asking students for test fee unnecessary burden on parents, PTF says. And also federal government orders all bank other accounts holders to re-register. You can see that story on page 26. And away from the Punch newspaper, we move straight to This Day. And main headline on This Day says that Buhari urges caution as 2,210,534 voters decide Obaseki Ize-Iyamu others' fate. And also governors direct state attorney general to review water bill. Away from This Day, we move straight to The Nation. And on The Nation newspaper, main headline says Edo Buhari warns against violence, rigging of polls. Also, APC preaches peace as PDP protests. INEC promises fairness, tight security in state. Death after castration for rape of minor. Kaduna goes tough. Also, Transcorp Hill as hits as hospitality loses $50 billion to coronavirus. Theatre icon Jimo Aliyu dies at 80. And that's all we have for you on the front pages of the papers this morning. We're going on a short break where we'll be joined by our guest in studio. We'll be right back. Right, welcome back. And if you're just joining, it's still Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Precious Chukudi, and I have with me in the studio our guest is in the person of Mr. Ali Mohammed. He's the CEO of Magnate Communication, also the former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning. It's good to have you in the studio once again.
Thank you.
All right, the EDO election is happening tomorrow, and that's after like 3 months of campaign, and no fewer than 35,000 security personnel have been deployed to ensure a safe and credible exercise. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
You've said it. We should be able to see a safe and credible exercise with the number of security agents that have been deployed there. And like I said, we have to seriously appeal to our youths as we approach the D-Day tomorrow. They shouldn't allow themselves to be used for violence. Again, there is a disturbing video of some women being given cash and clothes. It is not a good one. It is not a good one. If a party is doing that in an election that is expected to start within 48 hours, it's not, that means we should expect something terrible. I am worried, I am disturbed. I don't know if you have seen that video. I am disturbed by the video that is currently in circulation. Seeing people collecting cash, and clothes is disturbing. It's not a good sign at all. Looking at, I was in Edo State for about 5 days last week. Like I said, there is palpable tension, but people were all about going about their activities. Then looking at the campaign itself, it is dicey. It is difficult to predict who is going to win this election. Don't forget that the PDP have 3 or 4 senators out of the 5 in Edo State. PDP is strong in Edo State, and the other man is is also strong. He's a grassroots person. He is well known in almost all the local governments in Edo State. But one thing seemed to favor the governor, that is a sitting governor. He has a lot of advantages on his side. I don't want to start talking about those advantages. One of them is security. But I'm happy that tomorrow all the VIPs involved in this election will not be allowed to go to their polling booths with their security agents. I hope and pray that they will comply with this directive, because what has happened in the past, when VIPs go to vote, what you see is a situation where ballot boxes are hijacked by this. I think that is what INEC is trying to avoid. So they should comply. We are expecting a clean, clear election whose results may not go to the courts. I hope we will get that.
All right. So, the US and also the UK have said that they would ban, the visas of election riggers in the country. And, also, Governor Wike has said that they should not just only ban them, they should also, bring out their names so that people can see. What's your take on the fact that the US has said that they will do that to election riggers?
Well, Nigeria is a sovereign nation. The best that the American government can do is to monitor elections and then take the step they want to take. They don't have a right to interfere in election matters in Nigeria. I support it if that is what they want to do, banning election riggers, but unfortunately it is just a policy statement. We have seen so many election riggers in the past travel to America and return to Nigeria and nothing happens to them. But I hope they will be serious with this. We've had this kind of statements in the past that they will deny election riggers visas and all that, but they still go there for medical checkups, they go there to attend meetings till date. But I hope that they are serious with these threats.
Okay, let's look at the fuel electricity tariff hike. And this week we had the meeting between Labour and federal government, as well as Labour has come to say that they have given federal government an ultimatum. If they do not respond to reverting the old prices, they will go on strike. How do you think this would play out?
Well, government is negotiating with them, and I hope there will be a truce. They will come to an agreement after their meetings. Otherwise, I also hope that the Labour will have the courage to match their words with actions, because in the past we've had situations like this where Labour will threaten to go on strike. They will even have declared the dates of the strike, the date of the commencement of the strike, only to be called off less than 24 hours. We've had such situations in Nigeria. The only organization that can rise and fight for the masses now is the Labour. The masses themselves are taciturn. All you hear is that things are tight, and it ends there. What are you doing as a person? What are you doing? You don't have to wait until Labour decides that they want to protest before you register your protest. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not saying there should be violence. There should be peaceful protests. If you have any serious feeling against government policies, you understand. But I hope and pray that they will agree during their meetings so that we won't have a disruption of people's activities and government activities. Every strike comes with its own effects. When the nation is shut down, there is a huge loss, and sometimes it gets to a stage that people get killed. I hope we won't get to that stage.
Okay, so let's talk about the COVID-19 pandemic that we're still going through. And the federal government has said that it has begun to flatten the curve of COVID-19 pandemic, and that they just want to make sure that Nigerians will be compliant with them and not face complacency. But what's your general observation of how you think we'll be managing the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, they have rolled out a lot of rules, some of them bad, some of them good. The ones that have to do with the use of face mask is not being enforced. You go out and see people moving about without their face mask, and I think this is wrong. The truth of the matter is that the thing is still with us. It has not gone completely, and people still need to be careful. Parties are holding all over the place without any regard for all the protocols listed by government, and nobody is doing anything. So if we continue this way, I pray and hope that we won't have a surge in the number of COVID-19 cases that has already sufficiently gone down. One aspect of the COVID-19 protocol that is disturbing me and that is causing problems for those who want to travel out and those who want to come into Nigeria is the payment of over 50,000 naira for COVID-19 tests. And this test, the requirement that this test must be done within 72 hours of your proposed trip. 72 hours is very close to the date you want to travel. And if you must do any test, you must be sure that you must get the result also within 72 hours. But that has not been the case. We've had people who want to come to Nigeria missing their flights because there is a code that you get when you do the test and it is negative. They call it, I think, QR code. I know a lot of people waiting abroad to get that code, but they can't get it and they can come in here. Investors who want to come and do one thing or the other in Nigeria cannot come because of the failure of government to comply with its own time frame within which this test could be done and the result the result get to the person that has been tested. The results come by a way of a QR code or something like that. It is when you have that, you will be allowed to pass through all the airports that you have to pass through when you are on your trip. Then when you get to Nigeria, you are expected to go into a week isolation. Your passport will be taken away from you, and then after isolating, you have to go back to collect your passport. And to collect your passport, you must pay another 50,000 naira. This
So
to
you
me
don't you
is
think
ridiculous.
So you don't think that? Do you think that the cost of the testing kit itself is affecting our testing rates too?
Most of the testing kits they are used are donated by the World Health Organization and the Chinese government. They are donated free. So why should people be charged that high? You are paying through the Nigerian embassy in whatever country you are coming from. You are paying 50,000 to them, over 50,000. Then after isolating and you want to go back to collect your passport, you are expected to bribe the immigration people. So what kind of this is embarrassing. I don't know what the government is doing about it. If they are not doing anything, I think they should do something. I have friends who have gone from here to the United States. At the port of entry, they will request that you show your QR code. Once you have it, you are given your passport to go, but you are strongly advised to self-isolate for 1 week. But not that they will seize your account. The passport is for me. It is my right to go out of wherever I pass through with my passport. Something illegal is going on here, and I don't know whether the authorities are aware. A lady came in from the UK. She was advised to go and self-isolate for 1 week. After 1 week, in fact, after 10 days, she went back to collect her passport. She was asked to pay another 50,000. At these very trying times, it is too exorbitant for anybody to go through.
What do you think that the government, you just mentioned that now, and what else do you think that the government can do to cushion the effect of COVID-19 on its citizens?
There is this test requirements. The schools are going to reopen now. I think there should be effective monitoring on the school, taking into consideration the nature of our businessmen here that also always want to go after profits. Monitor the schools, because you have people that are coming to schools from different homes. The primary schools, the secondary school, the universities are going to reopen. There should be strict monitoring. That is where we have the likelihood of getting a higher record of COVID-19 infection from the schools. Children are coming from different homes, diverse homes from different states. There should be strict monitoring to ensure that people comply with COVID-19 safety protocols. That one. Number two, they should try and reduce the days that it takes to get the test results. It is too much. Sometimes they will tell you 48 hours, and nobody treats you until they have that result in the hospital. Yes.
There's a likely chance that if you have it, you could have even spread it to other people.
Exactly. If you can have the test done within 48 hours. I know somebody who went to the hospital, he had high fever, and they said no, they can't. Private hospital, he paid I think 30,000 to get tested, but she was just there. They refused to treat her seriously, and by the time the result came, she was COVID-19 negative, but positive for typhoid, acute typhoid. and she was left for like 48 hours untreated. They were just sustaining her, getting the temperature to go down, and they couldn't do any serious treatment. That is not good enough. The victim could pass on. And you know how serious typhoid infection is. It could kill within 24 hours. So it is dangerous to leave patients with other sicknesses untreated while waiting for their COVID-19 results. If it is possible, in serious situations, you can instruct the doctors to treat the patients seriously, maybe for the kind of ailment that she is infected with. Because in this case, the result came out and it was discovered that the victim was COVID-19 negative but positive for typhoid. So they had to commence treatment as soon as that result came in for typhoid. So my opinion is that the test period, the period within which the result is received, should be reduced. The whole world is moving ahead of this COVID-19 pandemic, trying to improve on the treatment, trying to improve on the safety protocols, and as a result, they have very low cases of COVID-19 infection.
All right, let's look at the recovered loot. That's EFCC, ICPC agreed to transfer records to database, and the heads of anti-corruption agencies in the country has agreed to transfer all the asset recovery records to a new central database that will be domiciled at the Federal Ministry of Justice. Do you think it's a right move?
It is not a right move. If you have recovered loot, that money should go to the central bank. I think this government is implementing the Treasury single account. So why do you need to keep recovered funds with the Office of the Attorney General? That you are not sure that it is not a CBN. The Office of the Attorney General is to deal with legal matters. Once you recover loot, those loot should go directly to the federal government account with the CBN. I am surprised that that is not being done until now, that they are trying to have a database. That is something that is long overdue. And that is why we have this problem with Magu and all the allegations about him diverting or stealing stolen funds and all that, and Magu accusing the Attorney General of being the one that instructed him to do a few things with stolen funds. Once stolen funds are recovered, the Attorney General should not have a control over it. You are allowing room for stealing. You are allowing room for misappropriation of those funds. Yes, I agree that we should have a central database that the Attorney General can access, the Governor of Central Bank can access it, the Minister of Finance can access it, the Presidency can access it. I'm surprised that we don't have that already, that they are just going to do it. So they've also compromised the process of fighting corruption. Government officials, they have compromised the process of fighting corruption. If you recovered 200 billion and that 200 billion is kept in the office of the Attorney General, you are tempting the man that is the Attorney General. As a Nigerian, you want to try and do something with that money, even if it is just to put it in a bank and get some interest. No, I believe that all recovered loot should be domiciled with the central bank. That's what should happen.
All right. Would you say that, because every time we hear that we are getting recovered loot, but then Nigerians will always ask, where are they using this money? What exactly are this money being used for? Do you think the government is utilizing this recovered loot well?
Well, I want to quote the government in some instances regarding looted funds, like the Abacha looted fund that was refunded to Nigeria from abroad. I had the Minister of Finance at a press conference telling us that they intend to invest the recovered loot in building infrastructure in some parts of the country. And when funds are recovered, we expect that government should invest such recovery in meaningful things that will benefit the people. But unfortunately, we have not seen the effects of recovered goods on our economy. All we get are situations where government will request for foreign loans to fund some projects. I expect that recovered should be diverted or should be directed to funding major government projects, not just any project, projects that will benefit the ordinary Nigerians. I expect that by now that we are getting a reprieve from the very harsh effect of COVID-19, we should be talking about building standard hospitals in different parts of Nigeria. I have not heard the government talking about that. You know the number of high-profile deaths that we had as a nation during the lockdown. We had those high-profile deaths because the VIPs could not be flown abroad. If you can fly out of Nigeria, you are not sure that the country that you want to go to for medical treatment will allow you in. So they were forced to stay in Nigeria, come to Lagos sometimes for treatment, and eventually they die. I expect the government to begin to think or implement the project of building standard hospitals where people can go to for the treatment of any kind of disease. It will save us from the dollars that we allocate to people for foreign treatment. It will help a lot. Some of us that don't have money to go abroad during such emergencies should have the benefit of enjoying treatment, good hospital attention in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Aliyu Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, and as well as former editor of Concord and Daily Times newspaper. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, you can equally like and share and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen, as well as if you want to find out up-to-date stories, especially with the fact that Edo State election is coming up tomorrow. You can go on our website at www.vanguardngr.com to find out more on our top stories. Till we'll come your way next time. Of course, I remain Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.